Hello everyone, welcome to my channel where I talk about Walmart and answer any questions you may have about Walmart. Let's go! What is going on everyone? What's going on? I'm here in Russellville, Arkansas at the Flying J. Um, I'm making this video because stopping here for my 30-minute break brought back memories of an event that changed my life in trucking, okay? In this truck stop, August 2nd, 2022, I I was stepping out of the truck in the morning. I was gonna do my pre-trip. I slipped and I fell and I landed on the curb and I broke my ankle. Okay. Uh, yeah, that. So breaking my ankle, I was in the truck. I had to go. I was I was bobtail. I had to go pick up an empty trailer here in Russellville to bring to no. I had to go to Clarksville, pick up an empty trailer to come back to Russellville to pick up a loaded trailer because I had to drop an empty. Then I needed to go to Springfield, Missouri. I needed to do a training recertification class. And yeah, so I fell, I broke my ankle. I drove down to Clarksville to the Loves, got me a cane, was able to pick up an empty trailer, drop the empty trailer back here in Russellville to then go to Springfield. Got one class done, certification the first day. And then after that, I was in so much pain that I ended up having to go to a clinic. I paid cash to get an x-ray done. They confirmed that my ankle was broken. I didn't know what to do. I was like, man, I'm not home. What am I gonna do? So I ended up getting in the truck. The place didn't want to let me go. They wanted me to send me to the hospital. They wanted me, like, I couldn't drive the truck because it was my right ankle. And I was like, I can't stay. I mean, I'll sign whatever you need me to sign, that you're not responsible, and I gotta go. So I left. I went by the company I used to work at, got fuel, and I decided to go home. So you're gonna say, yeah, I drove home with a broken ankle, but I drove to the company I work for with a broken ankle, and it was painful. So I ended up going, anyways. So I broke my ankle. I go home, and 2 weeks later, I had a cast on. I had still hadn't had surgery because I was waiting for it to get approved, but they put a cast on just to hold it in place so it wouldn't move. Because every time I lifted my foot, my leg, the weight of the foot was separate from the bone, and that was painful. So they put a cast on just to hold it in place. It wasn't even a cast; it was just like bandages, and I had to drive the truck back like that because the first question that was asked when I told the company that I broke my ankle was, when are you bringing the truck over? Not how are you, how did it happen, how, nothing. They did not ask me anything. The first thing was, okay, when are you bringing the truck back? I was like, well, I don't know. I just broke my ankle. I can't drive with a broken ankle. They're like, well, we need a date of when you're bringing the truck back. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm like, I don't know. I'll let you know. But anyways, so get all that, bring the truck back. Everything's cool and dandy. And I had to spend 4 months at home. And that's what changed my life. When I came into trucking, I had kids, but I haven't had my youngest child yet. I came into trucking. My youngest child was born while I was trucking. So I came into trucking. I was focused on money. I needed to get my financials straight, which I did. It was just money, 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 money. And I forgot, like I would see my son 1 week every 6 days. Every 6 weeks, I'll see him for a week. And the wife and everything. I was always over the road. And while being home, I realized I put my job before my family, before my kids, before my wife. In a way, you're being selfish by just wanting to make more money. And it it's like a constant competition because everybody's like, oh, I made this much money. And, I was afraid to tell people how much money I made because they would be like, oh, my fleet manager don't give me those loads. Oh, it was like it almost felt like a competition with other drivers. And I was just focused on money, money, money. I forgot how, I knew I had a wife at home. I knew I had kids, but it wasn't my focus. All right. So when I went home for 4 months, but hold on. So before I returned the truck, it was close enough for my lease completion to be over, so I was able to receive my lease completion bonus. My plans were to buy a truck. I was gonna lease purchase a truck with the money from my lease completion, and I was gonna buy a truck, and I was gonna stay trucking for the rest of my life over the road because that's what I wanted. That's what I thought I wanted. Once I went home, and I was home for 4 months, I realized the time I was missing away from the wife, the time I was missing away from my son. I got to bond with him. I got to have a better relationship with my wife. That I went back on the road and I realized I don't want to do this. I want to go home. Like my wife, she told me I didn't get married to be single. So if you're on trucking and you have a wife and kids, think about what your focus is. Make sure the focus is not just being out on the road, but I realized I wanted to come home. So when I came back on the road, it was never the same. I really didn't want to be on the road. I was aggravated. I didn't like it. I'm like, I need to go home. And at the company I'm working at, if you're not out for at least 6 weeks, you're not making any money, because you go home, you got fixed costs that you got to pay. And I'm not complaining about it. That's one thing about the company I work for. They explain everything about the leasing process with you. Like there's no surprises. There's only surprises because when you're signing the lease, you're so excited, you're just like whatever, and you just sign everything. But if you pay attention, they everything's there. Everything that they're gonna do, there's no surprises. That's one thing about that company. The contract is a contract, and you could read it for a week to make sure that that's what you want. But anyways, so that's when I realized, man, I need to get out of here. I want to be home. I started looking into fuel hauling because they have a fuel hauling company right down the street from my house that was paying $90,000 a year, home daily. And I couldn't get in, even though I had a clean driving record, was a trainer, no accidents, everything was legit. I couldn't get in because I didn't have 6 months of tanker experience. So I was like, man, I don't know what to do. One of my students at that company said, hey, I'm looking at Walmart, and Walmart by your house is hiring. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. So I was over the road. So I asked the wife, I was like, babe, I need help. I need to fill out the application for Walmart and see what happens. It took them 2 months to call me to let me know. Like I at that point, I was going to pick up a student. I already made up my mind, well, if Walmart's not going to work, and they called me, and luckily it worked. So just, I guess the moral of the story is a bad situation may be a blessing in disguise, because right now I feel blessed. I'm able to be home more often. I make enough money to live the life I was living at my previous company. I didn't have to switch anything about my life. Everything is great. As a matter of fact, right now my wife's not even working. She was working before, and now she got laid off. So I'm still able to live the life that I was living before I left my other company. I would have thought that, you're in a company where you almost feel like you can't be successful at any other company, because that's how they make it feel like this is you're only gonna make the best money here, blah 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 blah. And honestly, I made good money there, but you could still live with other companies' money. You just gotta know how to budget your money. And but a bad situation can be a blessing in disguise, guys. So if you're going through a hard time right now, just think something positive is gonna come out of it, and you're gonna look back in a year or two and realize, like, I'm glad that happened. All right, but I gotta go. 30-minute break is due. Be good, be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and just stay happy, man. There's no need to be angry out on the road. All right. Be good.